My cell phone won't stop buzzing. It's 11:47 p.m. and notifications just keep coming. I blocked my mom's number, but now she's using my dad's phone. I sigh and read the latest message. Kevin, please, we need to talk. The bank is about to take the house. Your sister has nowhere to go. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to get access to more stories like this. I swipe my finger across the screen and delete all the messages. It's been exactly 6 months since I left that house. 6 months of peace after 28 years of being treated like a walking ATM. The apartment around me is small, but it's mine. No yelling, no demands, no that constant guilt. I look out the window and see my reflection. I look younger now, despite my tired eyes. I'm finally a free man. It wasn't always like this. I grew up as the responsible kid, while my older sister, Ashley, was the family princess. Since I was a kid, my parents made it clear that my accomplishments were obligations, while any little effort on her part was celebrated as extraordinary. I remember when I turned 16 and got my first part-time job. That same week, the electric bill was overdue. Kevin, could you help just this one time? My mom, Diane, asked. That just this one time turned into 10 years of just this one time. By the time I was 20, I was paying half the house bills. Meanwhile, Ashley, at 24, quit yet another job because the vibe just wasn't right for her energy. She lived with our parents without paying a penny, while I shared an apartment with 2 friends and even sent money home. Your sister's more sensitive, my dad, Robert, would always say when I asked questions. You were born with more drive, son. That drive meant I was the only one who should make sacrifices. When I turned 26, my parents called me in for a serious talk. The house's mortgage was overdue, and they were at risk of losing everything. Without a second thought, I took over the payments. I cut my expenses, cancelled my plans to get a specialization, and started sending more than half of my salary to them. For almost 2 years, I worked myself to the bone. I did overtime, took on freelance projects on weekends, all to keep my family comfortable. Until that Thursday. It was the end of the month. I'd just paid the mortgage when I got a call from my mom. Kevin, we need you to come here urgently. I thought something serious had happened. When I got there, I found my parents and Ashley sitting in the living room. On the table were travel package brochures for Cancun. We're planning a family trip, my mom announced, excited. It'll be great for us to relax. You just need to front one more mortgage installment so we can use that money for the reservation. I looked at the 3 of them, unbelieving. You want me to pay extra so you all can go travel? Don't be selfish, Ashley replied, rolling her eyes. You work so hard, you need to relax too. I can't go. I've got important projects at work. Always making excuses, my dad said, shaking his head. Excuses? I'm paying for the roof over your heads. Ashley is 32 and has never chipped in a dime. Why doesn't she work to pay for the trip? My mom's face contorted with anger. How dare you say that? After everything we've done for you. She got up and pointed to the door. You're ungrateful. Get out and don't come back. I stood there, paralyzed for a moment. For the first time, I clearly saw the toxic dynamic I was trapped in. All right, I said calmly as I grabbed my keys. I'm not coming back. That night, I slept on a friend's couch. The next week, I rented this apartment. I blocked all the family numbers and dedicated myself to rebuilding my life. The first few months felt strange. Guilt would hit sometimes, but it was soon replaced by a lightness I'd never felt before. Quiet dinners. Weekends without anxiety. Money left over at the end of the month. 6 months of peace. So far. The buzz of my phone interrupts my moment of peace. It's an unknown number, but I answer anyway, a mistake I quickly regret. Kevin? My dad's voice sounds older, more fragile than I remember. Son, we need to talk. I thought I made it clear I don't want any more contact, I reply, trying to ignore the twinge of worry. It's about the house, he continues, disregarding my resistance. The bank is going to foreclose. We're 3 installments behind. Ever since you left, we just couldn't get it together. 3 installments. I do the mental math. They're without my money for only 6 months. How did they get so far behind? Dad, I've been transferring money every month to Mom's account for the mortgage. For the first 3 months after I left, I sent the full amount. The silence on the other end said it all. You didn't use the money to pay for the house, did you? Your mom, she thought you'd come back, he murmured. We kept it for when you realized your mistake. Then some other expenses came up, you know how it goes. I hung up without replying. My head was spinning. They took the money I sent specifically for the mortgage and used it for other things, expecting me to eventually come back and fix it all. The next day, my work phone rings. It's Ashley. How did she get that number? Kevin, you need to fix this situation. Mom's been having anxiety attacks because of you. Because of me? I thought you kicked me out of the house. Don't be dramatic. You know how she gets when she's stressed. We're just asking you to do your part. You were always the responsible one. I took a deep breath before replying. I've been doing my part for years, Ashley. And you? Have you even looked for a job? I'm in a career transition, she shot back as if it was obvious. Besides, someone's got to take care of our parents. You abandoned all of us. They don't need care, they need to stop spending money they don't have. And you need to grow up. You act like you're so superior, she snapped. Always the favorite, always having it easier. Do you really think it's easy for me to find my way? I laughed without humor. How could she twist it like that? Ashley, I held down 2 jobs while you had Netflix and free food. You talk like you were never helped. Who paid for your college? I did it myself, with a scholarship and working. You don't even know which university I graduated from. She hung up on me. Typical. That night, I get an email from the bank. It's the confirmation that the house mortgage is officially in foreclosure. But something caught my attention. The delay wasn't 3 months like Dad said. It was 11 months of unpaid installments. 11 months. I crunched the numbers again. That meant that even when I was still living there and handing over the money, they weren't paying the mortgage properly. My stomach sank. For almost a year, my parents took the money I worked hard for, promising it was for the house, and diverted it to other things. While I ate cheap lunches and cancelled plans with friends to save money, the pieces started to come together. The new TV that mysteriously appeared in the living room. The latest cell phone that Ashley got as a gift. The small renovations in the kitchen that cost a fortune. The next Saturday, I got an unexpected visit. My mom was at the building's entrance. For a moment, I considered not letting her in, but a part of me wanted to hear what she had to say. When I opened the door, I barely recognized her. She looked 10 years older. Her eyes were puffy, her hands trembling. My son, she said with a choked voice as she tried to hug me. I took a step back. What do you want, Mom? We need your help. We're going to lose the house. Your dad is worried sick. Why didn't you pay the installments? She looked away. We had some unexpected expenses. Your sister needed dental treatment, and then the credit card bills piled up. And the trip to Cancun? Did you go? Her silence was the answer I feared. You kicked me out of the house, calling me ungrateful, and then used my money to go on a trip. That's not exactly how it happened, she argued, her voice wavering between pleading and anger. We thought you'd come back soon. The ticket was already bought, we would have lost the money. We deserved that break after all the stress. Stress? What stress? I was paying all the bills. You don't understand the pressure of being parents. The sacrifices we made for you and your sister. What sacrifices, Mom? Name one. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again. We raised you. We provided an education, a roof, food. That's basic responsibility, not a sacrifice. And I've been paying since I was 16. Her expression changed, hardening. The vulnerability disappeared as if it had never been there. Is that how you repay everything we did? With ingratitude? You're obligated to help us. We're your family. No, Mom. Family isn't supposed to treat its members like cash machines. She got up, anger completely replacing her earlier despair. You're going to regret this. When you need us, we won't be there. I almost laughed at the irony. You never were. After she left, I couldn't shake the heaviness inside me. I grabbed my laptop and researched the mortgage. I discovered something surprising: my name was never on the contract. I paid, but legally, I had no responsibility. For years, I believed I was saving my family. In reality, I was just fueling a toxic cycle of exploitation. On Monday, I got a call at work. It was the bank, wanting to confirm if I was the son of the house owners. I explained my situation. The representative sounded confused. Sir, your parents told us that you would take over the overdue installments. They gave us your contact. That was never agreed with me, I replied, feeling my anger rising. I didn't make any commitment. I understand. Well, in this case, the foreclosure process will continue as usual. After hanging up, I sat in silence. My family was still trying to manipulate me, using my name without my permission, creating expectations I never agreed to. Later that night, I got another surprise. A notification from the bank: someone tried to access my account using my personal information. The system blocked the attempt. I called the bank immediately and found out that the IP address used in the attempt was from the area where my parents live. The representative suggested I file a police report. Instead, I sent a final message to my parents. They tried to access my bank account using my personal info. If it happens again, I'm calling the police. This is my last contact. Don't call me, don't show up at my work, don't use my name for anything. You chose this path when you kicked me out and abused my trust. Now deal with the consequences. I blocked all their numbers again. A strange feeling washed over me, a mix of sadness and relief. I realized that, for the first time, I was really closing that chapter. 2 weeks after the last contact, I was leaving work when I saw Ashley leaning against my car. My body froze. For a moment, I thought about turning around and calling an Uber, but something pushed me forward. No more running away. How did you find out where I work? I asked, keeping my distance. She looked up, her eyes red and puffy. Dad always knew. He stopped by once to check if you really worked there. That hit me like a punch. Even when I was still living with them and keeping the house afloat, my dad doubted me enough to follow me to work. What do you want, Ashley? The house is going to be auctioned next week, she said, her voice choking up. Mom's having panic attacks. Dad's barely eating. I felt that familiar twinge of guilt, followed by deep exhaustion. It's not my responsibility. You've always been like that, haven't you? Cold, calculating. Only thinking about yourself. I laughed without humor. Think what you want. I'm not going to argue anymore. I tried to get past her and into my car, but Ashley grabbed my arm. You don't understand. They'll be on the street. I'll be on the street. Ashley, you're 32. Get a job. Rent an apartment. Act like an adult. It's not as easy for me as it was for you, she shouted, drawing stairs. You always had it easier. Always the favorite. Favorite? I replied in disbelief. In what universe? You've been exploited since your teens. They gave you independence. They trusted you. With me, it was always different. Ashley is too sensitive. Ashley needs more time. Her hands trembled. You don't know what it's like growing up hearing you're fragile, that you won't make it. For a moment, I hesitated. I'd never seen it from that perspective. While I resented carrying all the burden, Ashley had been treated like she couldn't handle anything all her life. Then prove to yourself that they were wrong, I said more gently. Show yourself it's possible. Something changed in her eyes, a mix of surprise and confusion, as if the idea was entirely new. It's already too late, she whispered. I've never held a job for more than 3 months. My resume is a mess. Who's going to hire me now? Everyone starts somewhere. I started washing dishes at a restaurant. You make it sound so simple. It isn't simple. It's just necessary. Ashley stepped back a little, studying my face as if seeing me for the first time. They said you'd eventually come over to apologize. That you'd realize family matters more than money. That's classic manipulation. Family is important, but respect matters just as much. What's going to happen to them? I sighed. They're adults, Ashley. They'll have to find a place to rent, maybe a smaller apartment. Dad might go back to work. Mom too. They say they're too old. Mom's 56. Dad's 58. I know people older than that who started new careers. A silence settled between us. Deep down, I realized this was probably the most honest conversation we'd ever had as adults. I can't help financially, I finally said. If I do, I'll just be feeding the same toxic cycle. But I can send you some job openings I came across recently. It's tough at first, but it gets easier with time. She didn't reply immediately. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. I think I understand why you left. Ashley left without making any further demands. I wasn't sure if my offer to help her find a job would make a difference, but at least I planted a seed. 3 days later, I received a subpoena. My parents were suing me, claiming I had promised to pay the mortgage and that by breaking that promise, I had caused them moral and financial damages. The lawyer attached a document with my signature as evidence, forged, obviously. My initial anger gave way to a sad clarity. This is how far they had fallen. Forgery, lies, and legal manipulation. I hired a lawyer who, after reviewing the case, reassured me this is a frivolous case with no legal basis. The signature is clearly forged. We'll request a handwriting analysis and ask for an immediate suspension. A month passed. The lawsuit was dismissed due to lack of evidence and an attempt at procedural fraud. The house went to auction, as expected. I didn't ask where my parents were living now. Part of me wanted to know, but I understood that curiosity was just a remnant of the sense of responsibility they had instilled in me over the years. One Saturday afternoon, I was at the supermarket when my cell phone rang. It was an unknown number. I hesitated, but answered. Kevin? It's Ashley. Her voice sounded different, firmer. I got a job, she said, with a touch of pride I'd never heard before. It's nothing glamorous, just customer service at a department store. But it's a start. That's great, Ashley. Congratulations. I rented a room in a shared house. It's small, but it's my own space. First time living on my own at 32. She laughed, a sound that was half nervous, half relieved. How are Mom and Dad? I asked, even though I'd already decided not to get involved. There was a pause. They're living with Aunt Claudia. They're not happy, but they're safe. Another pause. They still say you'll regret it and come crawling back for forgiveness. That's not going to happen. I know. Now I get it. She took a deep breath. Kevin, I don't think I ever thanked you for everything you did for the family. And I never apologized for being part of the problem. Her words caught me off guard. Of all the things I imagined my sister might say, a thank you and an apology were at the very bottom of the list. Thank you, Ashley. That means a lot. "I'm not asking for anything," she quickly clarified. "I just wanted you to know I'm trying to change. It's hard. I keep waiting for someone to fix my problems. But I'm trying." After we hung up, I stood in the supermarket aisle among people doing their normal shopping, living their ordinary lives. I felt something unexpected: hope. Not hope for reconciling with my parents, that ship sailed long ago, but hope that Ashley might break the cycle. 6 months after that call, I was preparing for a move. I got promoted and transferred to another state. A new beginning, even further from the past I left behind. On the eve of the move, I received a message from Ashley. She attached a photo of her new apartment, small, simple, but clean and organized. I managed to get it on my own. Thanks for showing me it was possible. We don't keep in regular touch, but sometimes we exchange messages about our lives. She tells me she's taking a technical course at night. I share news about my promotion. It's a distant relationship, but respectful. As for my parents, I haven't spoken to them again. Through Ashley, I know they're still living with Aunt Claudia, clinging to the story that they're victims of an ungrateful son. Sometimes, especially on holidays like Christmas and birthdays, I feel an emptiness. Not because I miss my parents as they are now, but for the family we could have been, for the relationship we might have had if it had been based on mutual respect rather than exploitation. In my new apartment, which is larger than the old one, I'm setting up new rituals and traditions. I make new friends. I meet people who value me for who I am, not for what I can provide. In quiet moments, I think about everything that happened. I don't regret setting boundaries, choosing my mental health and future over toxic expectations. If there's one thing I learned, it's that family isn't just about blood, it's about choice, respect, and reciprocity. And as I build my new life, piece by piece, day by day, I realize that freedom doesn't always come without pain. Sometimes it hurts to cut ties. Sometimes the road to healing feels lonely. But in the end, it's worth it. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to get access to more stories like this. Because I'm finally living life on my own terms. No guilt, no manipulation, no that constant feeling of never being enough. Finally, I'm free.